A woman never forgets the man who makes her feel safe, valued, and truly seen. It's not the big promises or grand gestures that stay with her. It's the simple, consistent actions that touch her heart. If you want to know what leaves a lasting mark on her soul, these are the things every man must understand. Number one, he makes her feel emotionally safe. When it comes to what a woman remembers most about a man, it's not always the grand gestures, the expensive gifts, or even the words he says in moments of passion. What truly imprints on her heart is the way he makes her feel, especially in her most vulnerable state. Emotional safety is the invisible bond that ties her memory of a man to her deepest sense of self. It is when she knows that around him her heart is not on trial, her emotions are not dismissed, and her inner world is not belittled. Women never forget the man who gives them this sense of emotional safety because it is rare, and once she experiences it, she cannot unexperience it. A woman may meet many people in her life, some who excite her, some who charm her, and some who make her laugh. But the man who can calm her storms without silencing her voice leaves an impression she can never erase. Emotional safety is not about solving her problems or offering quick fixes. It is about holding space for her, space where she can express herself fully, knowing she won't be judged, mocked, or made to feel like a burden. In a world that often tells women to tone it down, to hide their tears, to be strong even when they are breaking, the man who says, "It's okay, let it out, I'm here," is unforgettable. He becomes a place of refuge, and every woman remembers the man who made her feel she didn't have to hide any part of herself. There is a difference between listening to respond and listening to understand. Most people listen with the intention of preparing a reply, of defending themselves, of winning the argument. But the man who listens with patience, who allows silence when she needs it, who looks at her not with frustration but with genuine curiosity, he makes her feel emotionally safe. And that kind of safety is not something she encounters often. A woman never forgets the man who treated her emotions not as inconveniences, but as windows into her soul. Because when he listens without judgment, she feels seen. And when she feels seen, she remembers. Emotional safety also means stability. Women are deeply intuitive. They notice when a man's actions are inconsistent, when his words don't match his behavior, when he is unpredictable with his affection. Nothing shakes a woman's sense of trust like inconsistency. On the other hand, nothing builds emotional safety more than knowing she can rely on him. When his presence feels steady, when his support feels reliable, she starts to open up parts of herself she usually keeps hidden. The more she opens up, the deeper the bond becomes, and the deeper the bond, the harder it is for her to ever forget him. A man who makes a woman feel emotionally safe doesn't have to agree with her every time. He doesn't have to carry her pain or fix everything she goes through. What makes him unforgettable is that he allows her to be without conditions. He respects her feelings, even when they are messy or hard to understand. He doesn't use her vulnerability against her. He doesn't dismiss her with words like, "You're overreacting," or "Don't be so sensitive." Instead, he understands that her emotions are not weakness but truth. He acknowledges them as real because to her they are. And when he validates her truth, she feels valued in a way that goes beyond surface love. This kind of emotional safety also allows her to grow. A woman feels most free to evolve when she knows she won't be ridiculed for her failures or abandoned for her struggles. She feels encouraged to take risks, to share dreams, to admit fears, because she knows that even if she stumbles, she won't lose him. She won't be punished with silence, withdrawn affection, or rejection. She won't be told she is too much, too dramatic, or too needy. Instead, she will feel like her presence is a gift, her voice is important, and her emotions are worthy of being heard. And once a woman feels this level of acceptance from a man, she never forgets the experience, because it is something her heart will always crave. Number 2, he shows consistency in his actions. Consistency is one of the most underrated yet powerful qualities in a man. It doesn't always show itself in grand ways, but it leaves the strongest impression. A woman may admire confidence, be drawn to charm, and enjoy attention, but what stays with her is the consistency of a man's actions, because consistency is not about doing something once to impress her. It is about doing it again and again to show her that his intentions are real. When a man is consistent, she feels safe, she feels valued, and she feels that what he says to her is not just empty words, but a reflection of his truth. Women notice more than men often realize. They notice the subtle shifts, the broken promises, the forgotten words, the times when someone says one thing but does another. Inconsistency creates doubt, and doubt eats away at trust. A man who shows up only when it's convenient, who showers her with affection one day but disappears the next, teaches her to never rely on him. And a woman never forgets the lesson of disappointment. But the man who proves through steady actions that he can be relied upon becomes unforgettable in the most beautiful way. His consistency becomes the foundation upon which trust is built, and trust is the deepest currency in love. Consistency is not about perfection. No man can be flawless, and no woman expects him to be. What makes a man stand out is his commitment to showing up, even in small ways, sending the message he said he would, keeping the promise he made, no matter how small, following through when he said he would call, when he said he would be there, when he said he cared. These may sound like little things, but in reality, they are not little at all. To a woman, they are proof that his words are not just meant to impress her, but to reassure her, proof that his care is not a performance, but a way of being. Consistency also means stability in emotional expression. Women often feel confused when a man's affection fluctuates without reason, warm one day, cold the next. It makes her question herself, doubt her worth, and overthink every interaction. But the man who is steady in his warmth, steady in his respect, steady in his presence, he becomes a rare memory she carries with her, because he doesn't make her second guess how he feels. She doesn't have to chase, she doesn't have to beg, she doesn't have to decode his silences. She knows where she stands with him, and that kind of certainty is unforgettable. A consistent man doesn't change his behavior when the audience changes. He is the same with her in private as he is in public. He doesn't show kindness when people are watching and neglect when they are not. He doesn't speak beautifully about love one moment and then act carelessly the next. His character does not shift like the wind, and this steadiness makes her respect him even more. Women never forget the man whose values hold firm, whose words hold weight, and whose actions mirror what he claims to believe. Consistency also builds depth over time. In the beginning, anyone can show effort. Anyone can put on their best face for a short while. But time reveals who a person truly is. A woman pays attention to how a man behaves, not only in the first weeks of knowing her, but in the months and years that follow. Does he still show interest? Does he still make effort? Does he still do the things he did when he wanted to win her heart? When a man remains consistent, he doesn't just win her once, he wins her continuously. And that experience of being chosen again and again is something she will always hold on to. Consistency, at its core, is about integrity. It is the alignment between what a man says and what he does. It is his ability to show her that his affection is not dependent on mood swings, not dependent on convenience, not dependent on circumstances. It is his way of proving that when he commits, he means it. And when a woman feels that, when she experiences that steadiness, she never forgets the man who gave it to her. Number 3, he respects her identity and individuality. One of the most powerful ways a man leaves a lasting impression on a woman is by respecting her identity and individuality. Every woman enters a relationship with her own history, her own passions, her own vision of life. She is not an empty canvas waiting to be painted on, nor is she an extension of someone else's desires. She has her own voice, her own strengths, and her own weaknesses. The man who understands this truth and honors it becomes unforgettable. Because respect for her individuality is not just about acceptance, it is about recognition, about seeing her as she is and valuing her without trying to mold her into someone else. Many women carry silent wounds from being told, directly or indirectly, that they are too much or not enough, too ambitious, too emotional, too outspoken, or too independent. Over time, these labels make her feel like she must shrink parts of herself just to be loved. But the man who respects her identity does the opposite. He does not ask her to shrink, he does not silence her voice, and he does not compete with her dreams. Instead, he makes space for all of her. He listens to her opinions, even when they challenge his own. He acknowledges her choices, even when they are different from what he would have chosen. This kind of respect creates freedom, and freedom in love is unforgettable. Respecting her individuality also means recognizing that she is more than her role in his life. She is not just his partner. She is a human being with her own calling, her own friendships, her own passions. A man who forgets this often ends up suffocating the relationship with control. But the man who remembers it, who encourages her to pursue what lights her up, becomes a source of strength in her journey. When she wants to try something new, he supports her instead of dismissing it. When she has a passion, he encourages it instead of minimizing it. When she succeeds, he celebrates without insecurity. These actions tell her that he sees her not as a possession, but as a person, and that kind of validation stays with her forever. True respect is tested in the moments of difference. It is easy to respect someone when they agree with you, when they act in ways that suit your expectations, when they follow the path you prefer. But real respect is shown when she chooses differently. Maybe she has a career path that demands her focus. Maybe she expresses love in ways that are not the same as his. Maybe she has boundaries that he doesn't fully understand. The man who respects her individuality does not try to override these choices. He does not belittle them, and he does not punish her for them. Instead, he honors her right to be who she is. And once a woman feels that she is free to be herself without fear of rejection, she never forgets the man who gave her that freedom. Respecting her identity also means not reducing her to stereotypes. Women are often boxed in by societal labels, expected to act in specific ways to be considered worthy or good. The man who truly respects her individuality doesn't fall into this shallow thinking. He doesn't say she should behave a certain way because that's how women should be. He sees her as a unique person, not a category. He values her opinions, her talents, her personality as they are. He doesn't compare her to others, and he doesn't demand that she be a reflection of his ideal image. He allows her to be herself, and in that allowance, she feels the kind of acceptance that is rare and unforgettable. There is also a deeper dimension to this respect. It empowers her. A woman who feels respected for who she is grows stronger, more confident, and more alive. She doesn't just feel loved, she feels trusted. She doesn't just feel admired, she feels understood. That sense of empowerment is not something she will easily let go of. Years may pass, circumstances may change, but she will always remember the man who made her feel that her individuality was not a threat, but a gift. Number 4, he appreciates her in small but genuine ways. Appreciation is one of the simplest gestures in a relationship, yet it carries a weight that is unforgettable. For a woman, what lingers in her memory is not only how a man treated her in big moments, but how he saw her in the small, ordinary ones. The man who notices and appreciates the things that often go unseen, the way she supports, the way she tries, the way she cares, stays in her heart long after. Because appreciation is not just about compliments, it is about recognition, about letting her know that her efforts and her presence matter, even when they are not glamorous or obvious. Many women give silently. They pour energy into the relationship, into their families, into building a life together, often without ever demanding recognition. They notice details, they make sacrifices, they adjust, and they put effort into things that no one else might ever see. And while she may not always ask for it, she feels deeply when a man takes the time to acknowledge those efforts. A simple, genuine, "I see what you're doing and I appreciate it," can make her feel more valued than expensive gifts or dramatic displays. It's not about the size of the gesture, but about the sincerity behind it. Women never forget the man who made them feel like their small, everyday contributions were not invisible. Genuine appreciation requires attentiveness. It means a man is paying attention not just to what she does, but to who she is. Does he notice the way she always encourages him when he's down? Does he see the little things she does to make his life easier? Does he value the way she chooses to show love, even when it's different from his way? When a man is observant enough to pick up on these things, it tells her that he doesn't take her for granted. And when he expresses it, not just once, but regularly, it builds a deep emotional connection, because appreciation is a form of respect, and respect makes love last. Appreciation is also shown in how he responds to her presence. Does he acknowledge her laughter, her kindness, her energy, or does he act as if it's just expected? A woman never forgets the man who looked at her not with entitlement, but with gratitude. Gratitude for her time, her attention, her love, and her care. When she feels like he sees her not as someone who owes him, but as someone who chooses him, it creates a sense of value that is impossible to erase. Appreciation, when genuine, makes her feel cherished in her individuality, not just in her role. Small gestures often carry the loudest message, thanking her for listening, acknowledging her strength when she doesn't feel strong, noticing her effort when she thought no one would, recognizing the little things that cost her time and energy but were done with love. These are the moments that stay etched in her memory, because when a man consistently appreciates the details, she feels that he is not blind to her effort. She feels that she matters not for what she gives, but for who she is. And that feeling of being seen is what she will carry with her forever. But genuine appreciation cannot be forced, and women can sense the difference. Empty words, generic compliments, or gestures done only out of obligation do not hold the same power. What makes appreciation unforgettable is its authenticity. A man who appreciates because he truly feels grateful, because he notices and values her, creates a bond rooted in sincerity. And sincerity is rare, which is why once she experiences it, it becomes unforgettable. A woman never forgets the man who reminded her that her presence was a blessing, not something to be taken for granted. Number 5, he stands by her in her darkest moments. There are moments in every woman's life when the light goes dim, when nothing feels certain, when she questions her strength and feels the weight of the world pressing down on her. These are the moments that reveal the true nature of a man's love. Anyone can celebrate with her when life is bright, when things are going well, when she is smiling and confident. But what she never forgets is the man who stood by her in the shadows, the one who didn't run when life tested her, the one who didn't withdraw his presence when she was no longer easy to love. Dark times expose the depth of loyalty, and a woman carries the memory of the man who was her anchor when everything else felt like it was falling apart. When a woman is going through pain, her fear is not just about the situation itself. It is about whether she will be left alone in it. She wonders if her struggles will make her too heavy, too complicated, too much for someone to carry. Many men say they will always be there, but when the storm comes, their actions reveal otherwise. The unforgettable man is the one whose actions match his words, who proves in the darkest hours that his love is not conditional on convenience. He stays, not because it is easy, but because his loyalty runs deeper than circumstances. And this loyalty etches itself into her memory because it is in the darkest moments that love feels either most fragile or most powerful. Standing by her does not mean fixing every problem. It does not mean taking away her pain or offering solutions to every struggle. What makes a man unforgettable is that he chooses to stand with her in silence when silence is all she needs, to listen when she needs to be heard, to hold her when words fall short. He doesn't run from her tears, he doesn't minimize her struggles, and he doesn't make her feel like a burden for being human. Instead, he becomes a steady presence that reminds her she is not alone. And when a woman feels that kind of presence in her darkest hours, she never forgets the man who gave it to her. Dark moments also reveal a man's patience. Pain can make her withdraw, it can make her irritable, it can make her doubt love itself. But the man who waits through her walls, who doesn't take her distance as rejection, who remains steady even when she is breaking, that man shows her the kind of love that feels unshakable. Patience in the face of her struggle tells her that he sees beyond her temporary pain, that he believes in her strength, that he knows this darkness will pass, and he chooses to stay until it does. This patience becomes a memory she holds on to because in those moments, she knows his love is not fragile. A woman's darkest moments can sometimes reveal sides of her she would rather hide, her fears, her insecurities, her doubts. Many people only want to see the confident, joyful version of her. But the man who stands by her when she feels broken shows her that she does not have to perform to be loved. He doesn't shame her for her weakness. He doesn't turn away when she feels small, and he doesn't compare her to who she used to be. Instead, he reminds her that even in her lowest state, she is still worthy of love. And when she experiences this, she will never forget it, because it is in weakness that a woman learns who truly sees her value. There is a depth of connection that is born in struggle that joy alone cannot create. When a man is present during her darkest chapters, he doesn't just win her trust in that moment, he earns a permanent place in her heart. She will remember the way he held her hand when she was uncertain, the way he refused to leave when everything felt unstable, the way he made her feel like even in the chaos, she was not abandoned. Those memories of loyalty, patience, and presence become part of her forever. Number 6, he inspires her growth. Instead of limiting her, one of the most unforgettable experiences a woman can have with a man is realizing that he does not just accept who she is in this moment, but that he actively inspires her to become more. Not by controlling her, not by demanding change, not by criticizing her shortcomings, but by believing in her potential in a way that even she may struggle to see. Women never forget the man who encourages their growth, because in a world that often tries to box them in, restrict them, or tell them what they cannot do, his belief becomes a form of liberation. When a man truly loves a woman, he does not try to keep her small so he can feel big. He does not clip her wings so that she will never fly away. He understands that real love is not about possession, it is about empowerment. Instead of being threatened by her ambitions, he fuels them. Instead of silencing her voice, he amplifies it. Instead of holding her back out of fear, he supports her so she can rise higher. And this kind of support is unforgettable because it makes her feel that she does not have to choose between being loved and being fully herself. Inspiring her growth means he sees her beyond her current state. He notices her talents, her abilities, her unique qualities, and he reflects them back to her when she forgets. He reminds her of her strength when she doubts herself. He challenges her gently when she underestimates her potential, and he celebrates her courage even in small steps. Growth is not always comfortable. It requires stepping into the unknown, facing failures, and pushing through fear. But when a man stands beside her and says, "I believe you can do this," those words become fuel that stays with her long after. A woman never forgets the man who made her believe in herself again. Many relationships are destroyed because of insecurity. A man who feels threatened by a woman's growth often tries to limit her, consciously or unconsciously. He may discourage her dreams, dismiss her goals, or subtly make her feel guilty for wanting more. And when this happens, she feels trapped, as if love comes at the cost of her individuality. But the man who inspires her growth does the opposite. He knows that her rising does not diminish him. Her success, her confidence, her light does not take away his, it multiplies it. This mindset makes him unforgettable because she feels safe to expand instead of being forced to shrink. Inspiring her growth is not only about career or achievements, it is about all aspects of her life. It is about encouraging her to heal old wounds, to strengthen her voice, to set boundaries, to value herself more deeply. It is about standing by her as she learns, as she evolves, as she becomes more than she was yesterday. Growth is often messy, filled with trial and error, but the man who stays steady through it, who doesn't mock her mistakes or punish her struggles, gives her the freedom to keep moving forward. That freedom becomes a gift she will always associate with him. There is also something magnetic about a man who inspires by example. He doesn't just tell her to grow, he grows himself, he works on his own flaws, he evolves in his mindset, he shows her through his actions that life is a journey of becoming. His discipline, his vision, his willingness to rise become a silent encouragement for her to do the same. She doesn't feel pressured to compete with him. She feels motivated to grow alongside him. And this shared growth creates a bond that is deeply memorable because she feels like they are not just loving each other, but elevating each other. The kind of man who inspires her growth doesn't leave her the same as he found her. His presence leaves a lasting imprint because he was not just part of her story, he was part of her evolution. He didn't limit her, he didn't confine her, he didn't dim her. Instead, he gave her the confidence to embrace her highest self. And once a woman experiences that kind of inspiration, she never forgets the man who gave her that space to rise. At the end of the day, what women never forget is not perfection, not wealth, not charm. It is the way a man makes them feel in the core of their being. Emotional safety, consistency, respect, appreciation, loyalty, and inspiration are not temporary gestures. They are the foundation of a man's character. And when a woman experiences these, she carries them with her forever. So the real question for every man listening is this: when she remembers you, what will she remember you for?